I've always been drawn to blood, body parts, gross things. I've always felt comfortable around it and always was curious about it. I think I have a really intellectually rewarding job. I'm challenged on a daily basis. You never know what kind of specimens you're gonna get from day to day. Some might surprise you. My name's Perraut. I'm 32 years old and I make $122,000 a year as a pathologist assistant in Lexington, Kentucky. Basically, when anyone goes into surgery and has to get either an organ or tissue specimen removed, we have to examine and dissect it before the pathologist looks at it under the microscope. Our findings can determine if they get chemotherapy or not. I feel like my career is really high impact, but most people don't even know that I exist. The demand for pathologist assistants has continued to increase. There's jobs posted all the time. Currently, there's not enough PAs to fill all those jobs, and that also means that salary demands have increased as well. So both of our paychecks go into a shared checking account. We share the responsibility of paying different bills. So I'm in charge of things like our phone bill, and Dylan's in charge of things like the mortgage. And then once we pay our bills, we take what's left over and kind of divvy it up between our different investment accounts and our son's education fund. Kentucky is definitely a lower cost of living area than other places like New York or LA. I think like everywhere else, it's gotten more expensive over the years, but I definitely feel comfortable living here and plan on living here for the foreseeable future. Some of our biggest expenses are our mortgage, obviously, and childcare can be a really big expense too. My son goes to a daycare and we pay $170 a week. We grocery shop once a week, and then we also will do a Sam's Club run probably once or twice a month as well. I feel like Dylan and I are both relatively frugal people. I don't feel the need to buy super expensive things or go out to super expensive restaurants. Dylan is definitely the more frugal of the two of us. He hardly ever spends money, and he jokes that he is allergic to spending money or scared of spending money. We each have a Roth IRA that we're maxing out, which is $7,000 a year. And then we take whatever we have left and put it into a shared brokerage account and a 529 plan for our son. So my mom worked as a medical laboratory scientist for 40 years before retiring. She worked in blood bank for most of her career, so whenever I would visit her, I would see her blood typing, finding antibodies, cross-matching blood, and I was really drawn to healthcare at an early age because of that. Med school would be 4 years in medical school and then at least a 4-year residency in pathology and possibly more years of schooling for a fellowship after that. At the time that I applied to school, there were only about 8 programs in the country, but the idea of only going to school for 2 more years after my bachelor's was really appealing. My parents saved up money for me in an education fund that was intended for my undergraduate degree, but because I received a full scholarship from Eastern Kentucky University, I was able to save the money my parents had for me to put towards my master's degree at Duke. The first year of PA school was definitely the most challenging academic year I'd ever experienced. Going through the first year of medical school with the med students at Duke was very rigorous, but I was able to put my head down and study as much as I could and do as well as I could. I secured my job about 8 months before graduation, and about a week after my graduation date is when I actually started working. There's a national shortage of medical laboratory workers, and PAs fall under that, and we're not producing enough graduates to fill those jobs every year, and so there's a really high demand for PAs right now. So when I get to work, we usually have specimens set up for us to start working on, and those can range from small biopsies that come from a colonoscopy to larger, more complex cancer resections. I get my tools ready, I put my blades on my scalpel handles, and I log into the computer. And then from there, I'll review the patient's clinical history, see what's going on with the patient, what do I need to expect or look for when I'm dissecting the specimen, and then I continue with the actual dissection of the specimen. I look for any abnormalities. I correlate with the clinical history to make sure what I'm seeing is what the clinician is expecting to see. And then I will select the most important pieces that will go on to histology and get processed for the pathologist to look at under the microscope. One example of a specimen that I see on a daily basis is a gallbladder. So I'm opening that up to look for the presence of stones. I'm also looking for unusual lesions like polyps or tumors. And I'm selecting the most important pieces for the pathologist to look at under the microscope. I really enjoy living in Kentucky. We're pretty centrally located to bigger cities like Nashville or Indianapolis. We can drive to the beach within a day. We're surrounded by horse farms and lots of bourbon. We're talking about having another kid. It's definitely a possibility, and that would definitely change our finances as they are right now, but that's something that we can talk about and adjust if it comes. I think our goal is to save up enough to have the flexibility to retire when we want. I don't see myself retiring super early. I get a lot of fulfillment out of my job and I enjoy my job, so I want to continue working for the long term. A lot of people don't know that this is even an option. They don't know that this is even a career that they can go into, and I just want to share what I think is a really cool job.